I want to just follow up a little bit on bone health. I am a petite, almost 70-year-old woman who has been eating whole food plant-based for a long time, but I always still worry about bone health and because of those osteoporosis, designations and all that. So first, could you possibly, I'll just say them all, it's just all related to this. Could you give a suggested supplement dose for K2? I actually found a D3 K2, but I have no idea really what the K2 dose is supposed to be. And then, I noticed that you said you don't drink plant milk. I actually do. I drink unsweetened soy milk. And I do hear a lot of the doctors talking about, that it's we can get our calcium, from fortified non-dairy milks. And then I've heard a little bit like, well, maybe you shouldn't get it from that because it's fortified and it's not like from the whole food. And so I was wondering, what you might know about that, because I do use like drinking soy milk as one of my ways to get the calcium, because it's about 300 milligrams, for a cup. And I'll sometimes, maybe throughout my day, I use it for oatmeal and some other things, I might have 2 cups. So is that an issue? And the last quick one is, somebody asked me, when we're eating low and high oxalate greens together, like spinach and let's say collards, is our body going to absorb the calcium from the collards, even though it won't absorb it from the spinach at the same time in the same way? So those are my questions. K2, fortified soy milk, and absorbing the greens and the calcium.
Thank you, Denise. Those are fantastic questions. So important. I really appreciate you bringing all that to the forefront. I don't know the K2 supplement dose that's ideal. I don't know if we have that. Now, the latest I've checked, I don't know the actual dose. So I just take the supplement that I know has a good dose. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. So I will, if you reach out to me, I will look up some more information and see if there's any updates on that information. I'm happy to answer that if I can. The soy milk would be a great choice for what you're saying. Yes, you're getting the calcium, but also soy foods themselves are associated with improved bone density as well. So that's important. And let's talk about bone health because it is so important, so multifactorial. I have a video called Strong Bone Stir Fry. And if you guys want to see that, that's on social media, or I'll send it to you. That summarizes all of these ideas all in one stir fry recipe, because there's all these different factors that come into play. Fragility is a real high risk for humans, for mortality. And we get more fragile as we get older. Of course, we lose bone density, we lose muscle density. One of the most important things you can do for bone health is exercise. Beyond nutrition, I think this is one thing that is most important is, well, you need the nutrition too. It works together, but you need to have resistance exercise against your bones to maintain bone density. The bone is fluid. You're getting bone cells coming in and out. The osteoblasts come in, osteoclasts, all this whole functions that take place throughout the day. It's a dynamic thing, which was so interesting when I didn't know that. I thought bones are just bones and then you grow them and then you lose them, but it's not that simple. And so because of that dynamism, having the resistance exercise on a regular basis is very, very important. So walking, running, if you can, a little rebounder, jumping, skipping, and then weightlifting, resistance training, really, really helpful for bone health and for muscle strength, of course, maintaining muscle mass as we age. Now, nutritionally speaking, calcium, 100%, we need calcium. So you want to have foods like soy milk, fortified plant milk. That's great that you have it. It's great. I'm just saying I don't use it like that, but it is definitely a good source for calcium. Almonds, sesame seeds and tahini, oranges, dried figs, those are other great sources of calcium as well. And then, just making sure you're getting different versions of it. The leafy green vegetables. I don't know. That's a great question about if you have the leafy greens combined, what happens once it gets down there through the GI tract. I would guess that those oxalates are present and it might decrease the absorption. That's just I'm just guessing because I don't know if that study has been done, but I would definitely have meals where you don't have any of the high oxalate foods, the high oxalate greens, just to make sure. Again, that's where I go into the variety, moderation, balance goal. And because we don't know that information, maybe we know that information, but that would be an interesting study. Mix it up, try to get those high oxalate greens, make those rare on special occasion types of greens, because, sometimes you want a good spinach. So that's one thing to think about. And, what else? I want to make sure another other things with bones is making sure your B12 is optimal. That's another reason for B12. We need B12 as part of those cascading effects. We need our vitamin D serum levels to be optimal. You want to make sure in your blood work that you're optimal so that you absorb it, because no matter how much calcium you consume, you may not absorb it. Oh, another great source is tofu. Calcium laid tofu, calcium set tofu is a great source of calcium as well. But if you're taking in all 1,000 milligrams or 1,200 milligrams a day of calcium, if your D levels aren't optimal, it's not even going to work. It's not even going to matter. So making sure all of that's coming into, all beautifully synergistic things. If you do all of those together, that should help with bone health, but it is a complicated issue. One more thing is when you're eating your healthy, nutritious beans and greens and lentils and leafy greens and all that, separate tea and coffee, because that can actually inhibit absorption as well. So have your coffee, that's fine. Have it later or earlier, and then give yourself an hour or so, and then have your meal with all those foods, just to separate that to make sure you get maximal mineral and vitamin absorption.
Excellent, Julieanna. Thank you. Thank you for all of that. We have another question now from Nicole F. Nicole, I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Nicole.
Hi there. Thanks for the inspirational talk. I'm calling from Germany, actually, and we have like the hugest bread selection, as you may know. So I was wondering, could you tell us about what you think about bread? I mean, we have like really good whole grain bread. I'm not talking about the white stuff. We have that too, but we have really delicious, good bread. So what about bread? Would you say no, yes, a slice a day, or a slice a week, something like that? And yes, I do have a couple of pounds to drop, so bear that in mind as well.
Thank you, Nicole, and hello in Germany. And the only time I was in Germany, I need to spend more time there, but I stopped there once in an airport. That's what I had, was a pretzel. I wanted to taste the bread because I know about that. I've heard about it. And bread is amazingly delicious. It's also very easy to overeat, first of all, because it's refined, right? And if you're trying to lose weight, I don't do bread during weight loss. But okay, so let's just separate this because it's important. If you're on a whole food plant-based diet, there's absolutely room for whole grain bread. There's sprouted breads. I recommend the sprouted breads as the best choice for more of a staple food. As sprouted as hearty as you can would be the choice for bread. But if during weight loss, I don't use any flours at all for weight loss. So I would have you take that off, take that out of your diet until you could get those couple pounds that you said you want to get rid of. And you could bring it back in, small doses as sprouted or whole grain as possible. Now, flours. On weight loss in Choose You Now diet, what I do is no oils, no refined sugars, low sodium, and no flours just during the weight loss process. But then once you're not doing that and you're regular maintenance mode, which is hopefully the rest of your life, I like people to get weight loss over with and then move on with their life. So it's not that roller coaster that many of us have been on for so many years. So you just separate that. But whole grain bread is delicious if you can keep it and you're at your healthy weight, and it could be part of your whole food plant-based diet if it works for you. And whole grain pastas, stuff like that, is great once in a while, depending on what your goals are.